couldn't sit up because his equilibrium was just off. He couldn't eat because he was so sick. He doesn't know if he's going to get the hearing back in his ear or not.
Paula, would you be willing to light the lamp for us today?
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vayed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vayed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bakar Banu Mekol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. Bless the Lord, the Blessed One. Blessed is the Lord, the Blessed One for all eternity. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has chosen us from all peoples and given us his Torah. Blessed are you, O Lord, giver of the Torah. Amen. You can sit here if you like.
We're reading Parashah 39, Numbers 19, 1. Adonai said to Moshe and Aharon, "This is a regulation from the Torah, which Adonai has commanded. Tell the people of Israel to bring you a young red female cow without fault or defect, and which has never borne a yoke. You are to give it to Eleazar the Kohen. It is to be brought outside the camp and slaughtered in front of him. Eleazar the Kohen is to take some of the blood with his finger and sprinkle this blood towards the front of the tent of meeting 7 times. The heifer is to be burned to ashes before his eyes. Its skin, meat, blood, and dung is to be burned to ashes. The Kohen is to take cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet yarn and throw them onto the heifer as it is burning up. Then the Kohen is to wash his clothes and himself in water, after which he may re-enter the camp, but the Kohen will remain unclean until evening. The person who burned up the heifer is to wash his clothes and himself in water, but he will remain unclean until evening. A man who is clean is to collect the ashes of the heifer and store them outside the camp in a clean place. They are to be kept for the community of the people of Israel to prepare water for purification from sin. The one who collects the ashes of the heifer is to wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. For the people of Israel and for the foreigners staying with them, this will be a permanent regulation. Anyone who touches a corpse, no matter whose dead body it is, will be unclean for 7 days. He must purify himself with these ashes on the 3rd and 7th day, then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself the 3rd and 7th day, he will not be clean. Anyone who touches a corpse, no matter whose dead body it is, and does not purify himself, has defiled the tabernacle of Adonai. That person will be cut off from Israel, because the water for purification was not sprinkled on him. He will be unclean. His uncleanness is still on him. This is the law when a person dies in a tent. Everyone who enters the tent and everything in the tent will be unclean for 7 days. Every open container without a cover closely attached is unclean. Also, whoever is in an open field and touches a corpse, whether of someone killed by a weapon or of someone who died naturally, or the bone of a person or a grave, will be unclean for 7 days. For the unclean person, they are to take some of the ashes of the animal burnt up as a purification from sin and add them to fresh water in a container. A clean person is to take a bunch of hyssop leaves, dip it in the water, and sprinkle it on the tent, on all the containers, on the people who were there, and on the person who touched the bone, or the person killed, or the one who died naturally, or the grave. The clean person will sprinkle the unclean person on the 3rd and 7th day. On the 7th day, he will purify himself. Then he will wash his clothes and himself in water, and he will be clean at evening. The person who remains unclean and does not purify himself will be cut off from the community, because he has defiled the sanctuary of Adonai. The water for purification has not been sprinkled on him. He is unclean. This is to be a permanent regulation for them. The person who sprinkles the water for purification is to wash his clothes. Whoever touches the water for purification will be unclean until evening. Anything the unclean person touches will be unclean, and anyone who touches him will be unclean until evening. The people of Israel, the whole community, entered the Zin desert in the 1st month, and they stayed in Kadesh. There Miriam died, and there she was buried. Because the community had no water, they assembled themselves against Moshe and Aharon. The people quarreled with Moshe and said, "We wish we had died when our brothers died before Adonai. Why did you bring Adonai's community into this desert to die there, we and our livestock? Why did you make us leave Egypt to bring us to this terrible place without seed, figs, grapevines, pomegranates, or even water to drink?" Moshe and Aharon left the assembly, went to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and fell on their faces, and the glory of Adonai appeared to them. Adonai said to Moshe, "Take the staff, assemble the community, you and Aharon, your brother, and before their eyes tell the rock to produce its water. You will bring them water out of the rock, and thus enable the community and their livestock to drink." Moshe took the staff from the presence of Adonai, as he had ordered him. But after Moshe and Aharon had assembled the community in front of the rock, he said to them, "Listen here, you rebels. Are we supposed to bring you water from this rock?" Then Moshe raised his hand and hit the rock twice with his staff. Water flowed out in abundance, and the community and their livestock drank. But Adonai said to Moshe and Aharon, "Because you did not trust me so as to cause me to be regarded as holy by the people of Israel, you will not bring this community into the land I have given them. This is Meribah spring, where the people of Israel disputed with Adonai, and he caused him to be regarded as he was caused to be regarded as holy by them. Moshe sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. "This is what your brother Israel says. You know all the troubles we have gone through, that our ancestors went down into Egypt. We lived in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians treated us and our ancestors badly. But when we cried out to Adonai, he heard us, sent an angel, and brought us out of Egypt. Now here we are in Kadesh, a city at the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your land. We will not go through fields or vineyards. We won't drink any water from the wells. We will go along the king's highway, not turning aside either to the right or to the left until we have left your territory." But Edom answered, "You are not to pass through my land. If you do, I will come out against you with the sword." The people of Israel replied, "We will keep to the highway. If we do drink the water, Either we or our livestock, we will pay for it. Just let us pass through on foot. It's nothing. But he said, you are not to pass through. And Edom came out against them with many people and much force. Thus Edom refused to allow Israel passage through its territory. So Israel turned away. They traveled on from Kadesh, and the people of Israel, the whole community, arrived at Mount Hor. At Mount Hor, by the border of the land of Edom. Adonai said to Moshe and Aharon is about to be gathered to his people, because he is not to enter the land I have given to the people of Israel. Inasmuch as you rebelled against what I said at the Meribah spring, take Aharon and Eleazar his son, bring them up to the Mount Hor, remove the garments from Aharon, and put them on Eleazar his son. Aharon will be gathered to his people. He will die there. Moshe did as Adonai had ordered. They went up onto Mount Hor before the eyes of the whole community. Moshe removed the garments from Aharon and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aharon died there on top of the mountain. Then Moshe and Eleazar came down the mountain. When the entire community saw that Aharon was dead, they mourned Aharon 30 days, the whole house of Israel. Then the king of Arad, a Canaanite who lived in the Negev, heard that Israel was approaching by way of the Atrium. So he attacked Israel and took some of them captive. Israel made a vow to Adonai, if you will hand this people over to me, I will completely destroy their cities. Adonai listened to what Israel said and handed over the Canaanim. So they completely destroyed them and their cities and named the place Hormah. Then they traveled from Mount Hor on the road toward the Sea of Suf in order to go around the land of Edom. But the people's tempers grew short because of the detour. The people spoke out against God and against Moshe. Why did you bring us up out of Egypt to die in the desert? There's no real food. There's no water, and we're sick of this miserable stuff we are eating. In response, Adonai sent poisonous snakes among the people. They bit the people, and many of Israel's people died. The people came to Moshe and said, we sinned by speaking against Adonai and against you. Pray to Adonai that he rid us of these snakes. Moshe prayed for the people. And Adonai answered Moshe, make a poisonous snake and put it on a pole. When anyone who has been bitten sees it, he will live. Moshe made a bronze snake and put it on the pole. If a snake had bitten someone, then when he looked toward the bronze snake, he stayed alive. The people of Israel traveled on and camped at Avot. From Avot they traveled and camped at Iyer HaAvrim in the desert fronting Moab on the east. From there they traveled and camped in the Wadi Zered. From there they traveled and camped on the other side of Arnon in the desert. This river comes out of the territory of the Emori, for the Arnon is the boundary between Moab and the Emori. This is why it is said in the book of the Wars of Adonai, the Ha'asufa, the Wadi of Arnon, and the slope of the Wadi extending as far as the site of Ar, which lies next to the territory of Moab. From there, they went on to Beer, that is the well, about which Adonai said to Moshe, assemble the people, and I will give them water. Then Israel sang this song. Spring up, O well, sing to the well, sunk by the princes, dug by the people's leaders, with the scepter, with their staffs. From the desert, they went on to Mattanah, from Mattanah, Nakhaliel, from Nakhaliel to Baamot, from Baamot to the valley of the plain of Moab, at the start of the Pisgah range, where it overlooks the desert. Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amori, with this message, let me pass through your land. We won't turn aside into fields or vineyards, and we won't drink any water from the wells. We will go along the king's highway until we have left your territory. But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through his territory. Instead, Sihon mustered all his people and went out into the desert to fight Israel. On reaching Yatzhatz, he fought Israel. Israel defeated him by force of arms and took control of his land from the Arnon to the Yabrak River, but only as far as the people of Ammon, because the territory of the people of Ammon was well defended. Israel took all these cities. Israel lived in all the cities of the Amori, in Heshbon and all the surrounding towns. Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amori, who had fought against the former king of Moab and conquered all his land up to the Arnon. This is why the storyteller says, "Come to Heshbon, let it be rebuilt. Let Sihon city be restored. For fire burst out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It consumed Ar of Moab, the lords of Arnon's high places. Woe to you, Moab! You are destroyed, people of Chemosh. He let his sons be fugitives and his daughters captives of Sihon, king of the Amori. We shot them down. Heshbon is destroyed all the way to Devon. We even laid waste to Nophach, which extends as far as Midviah. Thus Israel lived in the land of the Amori. Moshe sent men to reconnoiter Yatzir. They captured its towns and drove out the Amori who were there. Then they turned and went up along the road to Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, marched out against them, he with all his people, to fight at Edrei. Adonai said to Moshe, "Don't be afraid of him, for I have handed him over to you with all his people and his land. You will treat him just as you did Sihon, king of the Amori, who lived at Heshbon." So they struck him down with his sons and all his people until there was no one left alive, and they took control of his land. Then the people of Israel traveled on and camped in the plains of Moab beyond the Yarden River opposite Jericho.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu et Torah emet, v'chaya olam nato b'tukenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has given us a Torah of truth and has planted eternal life in our midst. Blessed are you, O Lord, giver of the Torah. V'zot haTorah asher sheMoshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. And this is the Torah that Moshe placed before the children of Israel at the command of the Lord through Moses' hand. Amen.
Amen.